As Bertza does land a shot onto Matty. Matty remains alive though, and Sydney now is alerted to Bertza's positioning. But Bertza distracts long enough for Cabby to find the kill. Finally picks up an up shot of his own, leaves just Matty in the 1v3. 34 seconds remaining of the tees. But Matty goes down to the nade of Queenix, and finally, ECSTATIC pick up a T-sided round. It took them far too long, but it comes on through. Now, looking at the stats history on Dust 2 for ECSTATIC, well, neither of their round win percentages are very strong on T or CT, but it's 49 on CT and 46 on T. They actually have a 51% distribution of rounds won on the T side, so perhaps their second half will be stronger. But Matty stronger than Bertza once again, cuts him down through the double doors, and Manx will be the one forced to trade on back. Mid control again gained by the UNGENTIUM side, as the Poles retain their pole position. 4-round lead, but Manx... Oh, he's just found the bomb. Great extension from A-Long Doors, and Matty does not want to fall back on his own. Needs to wait for some of his team to support him in this endeavor, but he's not going to. It's almost as if he hasn't realized his team has fallen down behind him. I'm surprised he's not looked back even once to check for another overextension from Manx here. Perhaps they heard him falling back away, but yeah, it's a great man advantage netted for the ECSTATIC side here. And Manx has only gone and done it again. Matty falls, and Queenix another frag for the A1S. Leaves just Sydney in a 1v4, and oh, it's a nightmare scenario. Caught with a flash in his hands, and Cabby will not be opting for a double up setup here. Two on the ball for ECSTATIC, and both of them in gun rounds. At least a nice statistic to be wielding. Tactical pause called by UNGENTIUM here, as they look to assess what they should do with this buy. Groupie's got money for an AWP. He could drop over to Matty, but if Matty drops back an A-gate, he would have to go glass cannon. And it looks like for now they will just be investing into pistols, as they will have enough loss bonus for a full buy come the next. We might see an SMG or two popping out. But yeah, UNGENTIUM looking to re-reign themselves and ensure they don't let this lead slip away. Groovy going for a minimal buy, so he will be the one tasked with dropping over the AWP gun the next round. Sydney, Prism, and Ponchek, a pistol apiece, and I have not seen a T-sided CZ for a very, very long time. Ponchek keeping it real, it seems. He's been around since 2017 in his professional career, at least on HLTV, I believe. If not 2016. Back on, I think Pompa was his first registered team before he moved over to XCOM. XCOM, of course, then became XCOM AGO. And then AGO, once again, retained its former name. I love Polish CS history. Used to be a huge Virtus Pro fan. Back in the days of Pasha, Taz, Neo, all that lot. As the Polish scene through UNGENTIUM, through AGO, looks to make a bit of a resurgence, and Ponchek and Sydney, they do just that. Prism bags another, and ladies and gentlemen, this was an eco round for UNGENTIUM, or a half by at best, and ECSTATIC, they get bullied! Not a single frag coming through here. They're overwhelmed on the B side and middle, and that is impeccable from UNGENTIUM. Made it to the top 60, top 50 in the world just a few months ago, and have been on a downward spiral since, but this game should hopefully be a big confidence builder for them. Matty sees the shadow, does get an easy frag onto Matty as he looks to go on the hunt. Will have money to buy regardless come the next round. But yeah, this is a grueling game for ECSTATIC. And with that, against him, I reckon they've already won this game. 6 rounds on their T half, looking for further damage to ECSTATIC's underwhelming, consistent performances. Again, this could be an 8 series in a row where ECSTATIC have not won a single map. But ladies and gentlemen, one thing that ECSTATIC do have going for them is some incredibly nice skins. And if you two want to pimp up your inventory, then why not head on over to our partners at BitSkins. You can use cash or crypto on their marketplace to bag up the inventory of your dreams. There's also a 5% deposit bonus on Ethereum right now, so get that while stocks last. You can also use their player-to-player trading system, and trading is something that ECSTATIC have been pretty bad with recently. As Cabby dies, and Ponchek denies the trade, but Kragan and Manx, posthumously at the very least for the second man there, will claw things back. 3v2 now for the CT side. And Groovy. Oh, it's a lovely readjustment onto the man of Brudzer, but Kragan beats straight back on in, and it is now a 2v1. But would you look at the health on both of these two players? Minuscule at best. Kragan on 6, Queenix on 30, Prism on the full shebang. Can even firm a headshot from the A1S, but it's a lot more than a headshot from Queenix. Holds for long angle from the B site here. Perfectly done as ECSTATIC do bag themselves a third and a lifeline on the CT side. And now it's round number 10 looms. It's finally the double up setup here for ECSTATIC, and I want to see what Cabby can do. He was immaculate on the scout come the second round of this game. The force bite almost netting them a victory off the back of his efforts, but Prism is just faster. The flashbang dispositions Cabby and forces him to a nightmare spot. Ponchek! What a headshot onto Manx there, Kraken to trade, but another man advantage for UNGENTIUM here, and despite Groovy's low economy, he's being boosted up towards A long doors. Berta finally another onto Matty. Wins out the AWP duel there. 3v3. And with Groovy's lack of weaponry, ECSTATIC can again chance a capitalization. Oh, a Titan Hollow. Not Titan Hollow. I by Power Hollow on the AWP of Berta there. Very, very fancy indeed. As that shot even fancier, Sydney falls. And ECSTATIC, they keep the dream alive of a successful CT side. Queenix kills Prism, Groovy 1v3. And it's just not going to happen. As he's locked down A long with the bomb in tow. 48 seconds left to play with. He could still attempt this. A smoke to aid in his crossing. And does he make it? Yes, he does, but will get shut down by Kragan before he can afford a bomb plant. Nicely done there by ECSTATIC. 3 left alive, and for the first time in a long time, I can comfortably say that was a good round for ECSTATIC. 3 left alive, gives their economy a bit of respite, and despite what was a very tough fight, that's a lovely shot from Berta. So is that. The young gun finding his footing a bit here, and hopefully these shots give him some confidence, as he also lands the final shot over towards Groovy before the job is finished. Another eco round here from UNGENTIUM. They bring in a couple of upgraded pistols to the party, but all they can muster as Berta grabs Sydney. No longer bottom of the server. The young AWPer continues his resurgence arc and lands a shot onto Matty. He's feeling himself now. This is what we've needed to see. 24 HP on the dastardly Deagler. The shots are missed on both ends here. And Berta overextends to the pistols. Eco frags always tasty, but not when they cost you an AWP. Ponchek flashed over from the B side of the map. 4v4 still ensues. But the AWPers at least kept from the clutches of UNGENTIUM for the time being. Manx catches Matty. Groovy tries his best to trade, but Manx is there for the dastardly double Cabby. One more in towards middle, and just Prism left alive with a bomb. And that will be all she wrote for round number 11 as ECSTATIC find their 5th and look again to equalise. Prism has his left flank revealed to Cabby, and with that, ECSTATIC went around with 4 left alive, and this is where the improvements are mustered. An economy strengthened. As UNGENTIUM, well, they're the ones that are starting to struggle here. One away from equalising, and they've got the advantage here in terms of util and the weaponry. And oh my goodness, Berza, what a shot onto Sydney. Where has this been for the entire series so far? Matty now tapping away with his AK. His aggression is countered again by Berza through the edge of the wall. Where the hell has this resurgence come from? Molotov's rain on down towards the ramp, denying further presence for UNGENTIUM as Grooby's tagged on up by the A1S of Manx. He shuffles his way further through the smoke. But I don't know why they've waited so long. Manx gets a freebie onto a blinded Grooby, leaving just Ponchek and Matty in a 2v5. Ponchek, spotted by Kragan, now has an engagement on his hands. Manx goes down, so does Kragan. 2v3, it's a winnable one. Make that 2v2 as Berta falls to Ponchek. Cabby finally gets a grip on the reins as Ponchek now has to both retrieve the bomb and win the round 1v2. But with that smoke deployed and ECSTATIC overextending towards middle, he safely crosses in, grabs the bomb, and that will be a plant. Cabby, in from long, can potentially catch Ponchek off guard, and Ponchek sees the head, gets the plant, and now the 2v2 is a 2v1 is still winnable for the bowl. Great first headshot onto Cabby. 1v1 now as he dances around the back of sight. Queenix, it's a nightmare scenario to be thrust into. The Molotov rains on down, at least forcing Ponchek back into a less desirable position. Tags are down. Queenix finally seals the deal, and with that defuse kit in tow, the defuse will come in, and it will be... No, what are you doing? Queenix, you've got a kit. Why are you going for the AWP at such a deadly time? Oh, it got so damn close, but he has enough time. That scared me. I had no idea what he was trying to accomplish there. When I saw the AWP, I understood a bit more, but I did not think he had enough time for that play. But, whew, okay. It's 6-6, and fair enough. Berta needs that AWP, man. He's been popping off these past couple of rounds. And finally retains a bit of confidence. Queenix, though, what a round to be winning. Almost pulls a Kenny S there. Speaking of G2, they lost 16-0 to them just a week or so ago. But I won't keep reminding you, as Matty reminds us as why he is the AWPer for the UNGENTIUM side. Tags Cabby through the door once again. I believe that's the 4th round that's happened now this game. As Prism now could catch an overextension, but Queenix frags instead, drops the bomb. Cabby pursues another frag. And ends up with a double. The hero AK of Sydney. Very swiftly removed, leaving just poor old Matty again in a 1v4. Cabby doesn't give a damn if you tag him through the door. as young Bart, our observer here, continues to catch us on the action. I love that graphic, man. That graphic is perfect. I want one of those as well. As Matty, well, he's going to want a little more of a scout come the next round, but desperately needs to save it, at least in the meantime. One of the benefits of the scout is you can run basically at full sprint whilst scoped in. Matty will be doing that all the way over into middle where he tags up Berza. Flash comes on in. Berza, please have enough discipline not to repeat this. As Cabby is instead keeping him pressured. Now Berta peeks on in at the perfect time. Matty falls, and that's 7 to ECSTATIC on their CT side. As we head into the penultimate round of the first half. That was a little gift. A gift wrap present from UNGENTIUM there, allowing ECSTATIC to take the lead for what I believe is the first time in this series. Queenix is again mobbed down to just 12 HP. Brutal stuff from Matty. It's just a shame he can't capitalize on a couple of these kills here. For Groovy, if Manx gets a bit too cheeky with it, could well be netted a freebie, but it's Matty instead. Again, winning out that Orchel onto Burza means it's a 4v4 situation with Queenix clinging on. On check, looks to join his teammate on towards the short side here, but the Molotov does split them up for the time being, allowing Kraken to divide and conquer. Doesn't expect Prism's forward position, and as such will go down. Now the A site in jeopardy, only a single offender in Manx, and he's about to get very promptly overwhelmed. Run boost over for the bomb carrier of Sydney. Not the cleanest run boost, but Ponchek is a clean kill on Dikabi as Prism follows suit as well. Queenix last alive in a 1v5. Forced to save that A1S over towards the B site. There will be money for ECSTATIC come the last round of the first half, but still that A1S and armor investment will be a worthwhile clasp. Diamond ticking away on that bomb, and UNGENTIUM guarantee themselves another equalizer. As again, Queenix just left sitting here up towards the B tunnels with nothing left to hope for in this one. Previous Dust 2 engagement was a 11-16 loss to 0-0 Prospect, 0-0 Nations Academy team. They also lost it versus Forza on LAN at the RMR, 7-16. Which is still a possible scoreline, don't get me wrong, but I consider it unlikely as ECSTATIC have at least found some semblance of footing in this first half. But yeah, it would be nice if they could win at us too for the first time in a long time. Now round 15 is underway. UNGENTIUM look to get an alt pick towards long early doors. After that endeavour is unsuccessful, Matty has thrown it back. Prism. He's come back down towards the double doors here. And we'll have a bit of support from his team. Prism, does he see the barrel of the gun there? I don't think he does. Happy tucks in just in time. A short is again pressured. Bertzer, sitting on the A site, patiently waiting for a short push, will instead receive a Molotov for good measure. As the T's now start to expend a lot of their utility reserves. Great Molotov onto Kraken though. Forces him out of a pesky position, but an even better grenade to reply. Groovy down to 50. Forced now out of a double doors as Bertzer forces the affair into a 5v4. Make it 4v4 as Sydney trades. The bomb site now could well be the point of contention as smoke's laid down towards the CT spawn, and Queenix wants nothing to do with this. Waits for his teammates to rotate on over, but Manx has a great kill onto Matty in the meantime. Queenix does back one, but Ponchek in for a golden double. 2v2 now. For ECSTATIC to wriggle their way out of him. Bertzer seems to have a fantastic idea of the Groovy's position. I think he heard the drop, leaving just Ponchek in a 1v2. 10 HP on this man. Perks his way up towards window. Can't even catch the first. Great readjustment from Bertzer on an A1S. And with that, it will be the half for ECSTATIC. Despite losing the pistol, the conversion, and the third round, they put up a decent performance in the gun rounds. And at one point even netted themselves 5 in a row to rival those opening 5. But UNGENTIUM were able to bank themselves. But with UNGENTIUM switching over to the CT side now, it is their favoured side. Will ECSTATIC be able to keep this one in the runnings? Or will the polls start to run away with things here? If ECSTATIC lose all 4 pistol rounds in this series thus far, I reckon UNGENTIUM will be able to steal away this map, but ECSTATIC, I really want to see them win a pistol. If they can't win a single one of the pistol rounds, then man, that is just rough. Also, I really enjoy looking at Cabby's Glock. The Dignitas Hollows from Cato 2014 are just pristine on a Glock fade of all Glocks as well. And it's Cabby to start the proceedings onto Groovy. It's not so groovy, baby, here. But another headshot onto Prism, but Matty, it appears he's the one with the Austin powers. There's 3 kills light up the feed for him once again. Queenix trades, Matty removed. Ponchek another of his own, and Queenix seals the deal. A 1v2 clutch for the man ensures that ECSTATIC finally win an elusive pistol round. 2-round lead now against UNGENTIUM, and with the bomb plant and the round win, they'll be able to force an UNGENTIUM. They can try, but it won't be the most ECSTATIC of buys for them. Having said that, Ponchek, he's been dropped an A1S and he's got the armor as well to deal with damage required. Groovy on the flip side, though, just a deagle, and his performance has not really been up to scratch in this second map. Sydney as well, awfully quiet. It's a far cry from the performances they were putting up on Vertigo. But as ECSTATIC begin to aggress their way through middle, Prism got completely off guard. Cappy bags another, Birds are a third. And yeah, capitalizing onto his aggression with that AK, leaving just Matty in a 1v4. And with that, ECSTATIC get the plant, and they find double digits before UNGENTIUM. And also retain all 4 remaining players, and Queenix gets a deagle freebie for his troubles. Round number 18 is up next. And ECSTATIC finally looking a little more confident here. Doesn't take me to say that Berta was appalling in that first map, but his resurgence is a very promising sign for both his personal performance and for the team's chances in this series. In fact, it's him leading the charge now for ECSTATIC. Other than whimpering at the bottom with 7 kills. What was a 28-round game, but decapitates Groovy again, and poor old Groovy isn't given a break. As he has so many times been the one to pick up the deagle for his team. There's a reason he's a support player. He's been playing Sanji this game, the king of all support players. A nice little homage from Groovy there. But again, it's the bomb down for the side of ECSTATIC, and this long wrap likely won't net them much, except maybe a kill onto Kragan, but he's got a good position. He's got his teammates to back him up. And wow, Ponchek. Very nice opening kill onto Max, but Kragan finds a 3-beat. If you see what I did there. Berta swings on in for the finale, and there's some nice eco frags picked on up by the side of ECSTATIC, and with that, they extend their round lead to 4. ECSTATIC again find their footing on their opponent's map pick. Ancient is still very much on the cards, and I'd love to see a game of Ancient. One of my favourite maps to cast. Very heavily CT-sided, so a lot will come down to who wins that 9th round. But Matty and Prism, where the hell have these 3 frags come from? But he is quick to trade. Manx bags one more, but Sydney and Groovy steal the show. As UNGENTIUM very comfortably put themselves up onto 8. ECSTATIC, they've got an economy. They can afford to buy relatively comfortably. Kraken drops Manx here as Bertza warps in. But if UNGENTIUM win this round, it will be a 9th, and ECSTATIC there. Well, mid-game dominance, I suppose, will be brushed away a little. And it's Matty early doors towards the top of Upper Tunnel. Waiting for any ecstatic aggression. I say waiting, he's now going aggressive. Queenix will be the man to receive. Matty hasn't quite revealed him whole self yet. Him whole self? I speak English, I promise. His whole self. The Sydney. Oh, it's rough. He's fully blinded, but Cabby, after jumping above the smoke, goes back in for an attempt at damage to his opposition, but to no avail. Another default here for Ecstatic as they waltz around the map looking for an opening kill opportunity. But Matty, how the hell does that shot not kill Queenix? Down to 18 points of health. Queenix is very much in the danger zone. As Ecstatic, at least since the last map, have been on the highway to it. As round number 20 continues upon. That's a lovely finishing blow from Matty. Manx unable to trade through that smoke. And B-site, well, it still looks to be the point of contention here. A smoke to aid the tunnel push, a smoke to cut off double doors. Bertza takes up a bit of damage from a nade, but Matty is the one doing the full blows. Ponchik as well spins on in. Matty back for more. Gabby finally trades on out towards the opposite side of the map, but the bomb is dropped in no man's land. And as Gabby drops on into no man's land, he's shut down by Prism. UNGENTIUM find themselves a ninth as they head towards double digits here. It will not be a buy round for Ecstatic. They do not have the funds as they slowly start to let this lead slip away from them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, Ecstatic has some gorgeous skins in their portfolio, and Sydney's knife isn't too bad either. But if you want to replicate some of the skins that you've seen here today on the server, then why not head on over to our partners at BitSkins. Their skin prices are far cheaper than the Steam Marketplace, and you can deposit using cash or crypto with a 5% deposit bonus on Ethereum. But Cabby doesn't get his early round bonus onto Cabby. Onto Groovy, sorry. A bit of a mess down towards A-Long, but Prism bring things heavily back into the favour of the Poles. Matty, a nice peek on in and removes the A1S. And look at that second stint of aggression from Matty. Perfectly balanced, and I know it's up against Decode rounds, but it's still really nicely done with his positioning. And now as we head into double-digit rounds for both of our two teams, only one separates them again from an equalised scoreline. He's rattled down towards A-Long, where Bertz is the only man there to receive. As the rest of Ecstatic, they go on a mission towards the B tunnel. Matty hit in the face by a smoke ball, blinded by a flash, goes down to Manx, and Manx says no way! A double spray down through the smoke allows for two headshots, but Prism is there to at least temporarily recover things. 6 bullets left of the A1S magazine, finds another Forest Troubles. Queenix quick to trade though. 3v2 for Ecstatic, and this should be the round for them. A nice smoke to deny Bertz's peak on the crosshair. As Sydney and Groovy, they edge their way ever closer to this site. The grenade, it rains on in, does damage to Kraken. As Groovy uses a Molotov towards tunnels rather than the car position, Queenix is allowed to keep crouching in his safe spot and finally pops up for two headshots. Lovely stuff from the man. 3 in the round in total off the back of Manx's unbelievable 2K opener. 2 headshots completely blind through the smoke. I think one of them was onto a backside player by complete accident. And Ecstatic somehow muster their way up to 12, keeping UNGENTIUM's comeback at bay. 2-round lead, and they look to further edge their way towards that home stretch. Edge their way towards 16 in regulation, that is. As it wouldn't be the first time they've denied themselves a win by letting the end rounds of a game slip and losing in overtime. A trade of util towards A long here, but predominantly from the T side. As ECSTATIC start to pick up the pace here, edging their way up to their cross smokes. Is that a missed smoke? They missed the first cross smoke, and Sydney kills one of the right clickers in Manx, a prominent player in the server here, and that is a costly man to lose early doors. Kraken though kills Sydney as the spray is messy. Ponchek and Prism though, the alliteration is dazzling, and so is the kill feed in their favour. Matty now seals that deal, and that's lovely stuff from the Orpa of UNGENTIUM. A couple of very quiet rounds there from the young man, but he comes back in with a vengeance. UNGENTIUM as well, not looking to let their own map pick slip away here, find themselves onto 11, and ECSTATIC no doubt quaking in their boots. There's no buy here for them in 24, and with that, UNGENTIUM are set to equalise. There's about one more opportunity for a full Stream Cards game here, ladies and gents, so don't forget to hop on in with this tactical timeout called. ECSTATIC wondering where the hell it all went so wrong and how the hell they missed up the easiest smokes in the game. Or at least the easiest smokes on Dust 2 of the cross smokes. These pros know them like the back of their hands at this point, but, well, the lack of an 100% success rate is damning there for ECSTATIC. UNGENTIUM, as I said, this could have been their round to capitalise, but ECSTATIC have decided not to let UNGENTIUM equalise without a fight. They've instead gone for as full of a buy round as they can muster, with Queenix on an AK and full util, Kraken a Tech 9, Manx and Cabby on the Galils, and Bertza on a Deagle. It's an interesting buy, to say the least, and Manx may not have a buy for much longer as he's heavily pressured upon by Prism. Great shots, though, from the goal, but Matty's quick to trade. Orp again, finding impact in his hands as he overtakes now Bertza's kill numbers. Sydney and Bertza go blow for blow. Matty, that is promiscuous indeed. The peak towards the lower tunnels. 3v2 again now for UNGENTIUM as they look to salaciously steal away. Another round from ECSTATIC and equalise that scoreline before things get out of hand. Ruby, again, the support player. And doppelganger of Dweg. To try and get something else done here, but instead it's the Orp of Matty tagging Queenix down to just 16. And Ponchek sealing the deal onto Manx, cause carnage. Queenix gets one onto Gruby running in the upper tunnels, but Matty seals the deal, and Matty is on fire. Another 3k in the round for him. Up against the buy of ECSTATIC, as again, they can sort of buy on the T side, but it would be ill-advised to say the least. UNGENTIUM's CT side, sorry, looking ever stronger as they wriggle their way back into this one. And ECSTATIC are again in jeopardy as the fear of losing 8 series in a row without a single map win looms very heavily over their shoulders. And it's not like these guys are playing for free. They're getting played big money. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with a contract like that. And one of those is to not lose against the 180th ranked team in the world with their brand new player performing very well for them, admittedly. Ponchek, 25 and 14 on his second day of signing. As ECSTATIC, they've had 4 of these guys for 2 months. Manx has been IGLing for 11 at this point. As UNGENTIUM, well, that's a very nifty 13th to steal away. And with that, ECSTATIC, they've got an economy, but not a particularly strong one. Now, round number 26. Bertza is full glass cannon. Matty on the flip side, certainly not. But Gruby and Sydney aren't ever going to get to see that glass cannon. As Cabby and Kraken find a frag apiece. Lovely stuff from the T's towards A long, and they are proving that they're not done fighting just yet. It's going to take a big performance from one of these CTs on the A site in order to pull this one back into contention. The one thing they've got going in their favor is that Queenix is still playing towards upper tunnels, but Kraken, lovely spray control. Matty, good for the single. Smoke deployed. They bait the fade away, and that is a lovely double from the man. Prism finds another, leaving just Queenix in the 1v1. How the hell has that round so quickly spin out of control? I was paying full attention, and I still didn't notice that everyone had died. As Matty bags 2, Prism 2 for himself, and Kraken's double means almost nothing, but Queenix in from the backlines gets a freebie on a Prism facing away, and without UNGENTIUM, I've let another equalize slip on through. Queenix's very, very lost position in terms of where the action was happening. Turned out to be a blessing rather than a curse for the side of ECSTATIC. UNGENTIUM, they can't afford another buy here. Matty can afford another AWP. But the util is starting to become limited, and if they lose this one on the CT side, then ECSTATIC will start to spiral things most likely. Huge nade damage towards the B attackers. Mangs and Cabby eaten alive by a cheese. But the one good thing in their favor, though, is they've allowed all 5 players still alive onto that B bomb site, and the retake may be a bridge too far for UNGENTIUM. Look at that, they're already saving. My, oh my. What a huge round for ECSTATIC, and for the first time in a very, very long time, we have what they call a unicorn round. Not a single player on either team will die in this round, as every single UNGENTIUM player goes to save in towards long pit. Unicorn rounds named as such for their rarity and beauty. Sometimes violence isn't the answer, if you ignore the fact that, of course, a bomb has now gone off. UNGENTIUM survived all of their players across with full HP on each. That means $350 head armor should they choose to invest into it. It means kits, it means utility, and it means they're going to stand the best chance possible against ECSTATIC, as they have 3 Galils still in their portfolio. Dragon takes the earliest speck of damage towards A long as util runs right, but would you look at this in pit? Oh my goodness, Kraken doesn't account for Sydney, but Manx and Queenix and Cabby, they do one better. Sydney has to find another frag to even up the numbers here, to keep this round within the realms of possibility, and he will! Gorgeously done onto Cabby as he continues playing around that smoke deployed. Flashbang rains over the top, and appropriately Bertha gets the hell out of dodge. Does not want to lose that AWP, does not want to lose this round for his team, as well as Ponchek in towards middle, who will have to do a lot of heavy lifting here. Encroached upon by 2 Ts, as Bertza, thankfully for the health of Ponchek, does not push in through the double doors. Ponchek sees the first, allows him into the site, but the flashbang will be expended over the top. Smoked off now by the side of Queenix. It is going to be a tough, tough round for the UNGENTIUM boys to pull on back. ECSTATIC are looking for a 15th, and with that bomb plant, it seems almost likely. Sydney does still have util to play with, but another Molotov denies window presence. No flashbang to help Ponchek into the site. It's going to have to be the smoke, the nade, the molly to try and tag up these players. Queenix, as he sinks in towards the back of car, could be displaced by that singular Molotov, but again, Sydney clutches onto it. Finally, the Molotov expended, but it's on towards the site. Burster is a lovely shot onto the first, misses the second, but Ponchek, with his removal, spurs Sydney into a save, and with that, the money on UNGENTIUM is not looking great. That was a must-win round for them, and Sydney does at least bag it up for his troubles after an impeccable performance in the pit. But a 3K is apparently not enough to win the round as ECSTATIC. They're the first on the 15th, and their opponent's map pick. And as much as that AWP save for UNGENTIUM is at least a lifeline coming into round number 29, ECSTATIC look to replicate the previous map's scoreline. The save over weaponry from the Unicorn round does not appear to have been enough. And now Prism on the FAMAS. A severe lack of utility and armor across the board will be plaguing this UNGENTIUM side. And Sydney already down. Means that UNGENTIUM are one death closer to a third map series here. This would be the first map win in 7 series for the side of ECSTATIC, and Groovy keen to deny, but Kraken instead the man to cut him where he stands. Queenix catches another onto Prism, and Berta out-orbs Matty for the first time in a while. Ponchek 1v5 with an A1S in tow. It would be a heroic effort to pull this through, but already down to 47, only has 1 to the tally. It looks as if he wants to save here, but he can't save. It's the last round of the game. Ponchek might see the barrel of the AWP on his left here, but man, he's going to need to see and do a lot more than just that if he wants to clutch this one up. Already outnumbered as Cabby is dinked on down, but not retrieved. Ponchek picks up an AWP to try and clear up a long angle. But he's baited out by the shoulder peaks and somehow makes it onto the bomb site, but he's out of time. Out of weaponry, out of teammates, out of luck, as UNGENTIUM let their own map pick slip to ECSTATIC, and ECSTATIC, after 8 series of trying, finally put a map win to their tally. And with that renewed ECSTATIC energy, and an impeccable performance actually by Berza, he did a really nice set of kills across the entire series there. Great impact. Can we see Ancient be a different story? They got 16-0 by G2 on it, and they've lost a lot of series on it since. 14-16 to Eyeballers, and they lost 7-16 to Sangal, most recently in the CCT North European Series. Well, with Ancient coming up next, there's a lot still for ECSTATIC to prove. It's one of their most played maps. In fact, well, 4th most played to be precise. They have a 14% win rate in the past 3 months, unlike UNGENTIUM, who have played it 14 times with a 50% win rate. This should be UNGENTIUM's map to lose, but we'll just have to wait to see what happens after this short break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. I'll see you all in just a couple of minutes.
Stuck ranking up? Lost the motivation to grind? Bored of clicking heads on aim maps? Get some color into your game. Bitskins.com. Buying and selling skins made easy. Tons of payment methods and instant cash outs. Just choose your dream skins, select your preferred payment method, and start grinding again. If you want to play like the pros, you gotta look like the pros.
Win up to $1 million with your CSGO esports predictions. Simply guess the kill scores of the 10 players in a CSGO match. The more you guess correctly, the bigger the prize. You'll need at least 2 correct predictions to win a prize. Guess all 10 correct and win $1 million. Experience the exciting new way to add a little prosperity when watching esports tournaments. And register now to receive a free entry ticket upon sign-up. Predict kills, win millions, prosper.
The hunger for glory feeds the desire, the courage to look for a challenge, to feed your ambitions. To reach for greatness. To become the champion of champions.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back again to a series that is only just heating up. You're still watching ECSTATIC versus UNGENTIUM here, and well, the second map went the way of ECSTATIC, hence we're here in the first place. Both teams have traded maps at this point, and both scorelines have been 16-13. Now, with Ancient, it's an interesting predicament. ECSTATIC, they've played it 7 times in the past 3 months, and they've only won it on a single one of those occasions. On the flip side, UNGENTIUM have played it 14 times in the past 3 months and have won it on 50% of those. Now, the one downside for UNGENTIUM here is that Ponchek is their newer player, and he hasn't got much experience playing both Ancient with UNGENTIUM, and I believe Ancient overall. The last time he was playing proper CS was with Wisla Krakow, and Wisla Krakow disbanded their CSGO division back in July, and that was just around the time that the changes had been made to the map. Now, Queenix is going to interrupt me as he looks to find that opening frag on the prison, but instead it's Ponchek, the man I was questioning, to find the opening kill. Sidney back to second as Cabby trades it back to the 3v3. Ponchek fires blindly through the smoke with his Manx to catch Groovy, who had a very rough game last map. If Groovy does not improve, then ECSTATIC could well walk away with this as long as everyone on their own side continues the same level of performance. Now, Ponchek and Matty, 2 of the top performers throughout this entire series, will have to pull off a 2v3 retake, and well, they've got the positional advantages of being able to swing as a unit, but it's a nice stink onto Cabby there. Buzzer and Cabby, though, they seal the deal. And with that, ECSTATIC win their second pistol round of this long slog of a series. Heading into the second with that bomb plant and that round conversion will, of course, be the buy here for ECSTATIC. And AK comes in, 2 in fact, along with Galil's and a Mac 10. On the flip side, Ponchek has been gifted an MP9. He's got the Kevlar, and he's got teammates on 5.7s and Deagles. Now, we've seen what 5.7s and Deagles can do. Will they be able to continue to make mischief and mayhem happen? Over here on our third map of Ancient. Ruby, very early stint of aggression there. We'll actually catch a couple of players making their way in towards Donut. He should be able to give this call over. But Sydney goes down to Kraken early doors, and that's the A-bomb site completely overrun. Burtser almost caught with his pants down, caught with Util in his hand, but catches the frag onto Matty regardless, leaves just Ponchek and Prism in a 2v5, and with that, they are just going to want to try and save what little they have here. Prism has full armor, Ponchek has enough that he can get a helmet with the next. And he does upgrade to a Desert Eagle here, but again, that's all she wrote. Nice second on the board for ECSTATIC here, and it will be very much a relief for them to feel the relief of finding a conversion round. the opening conversion round of a map, in fact, and on their T side of Ancient. A very, very tough side to start with. Kragan does gift up a Mac 10, but that's not going to be the end of the world, as all the rifles are saved on over, and Kragan can himself invest into one. With this UNGENTIUM, they have a messy, messy buy. They can opt to either go for upgraded pistols around those two saved SMGs, and that's exactly what they'll do. Well, they could have gone for the full save, but they don't have to, as they look to at least put up a couple of frags here against ECSTATIC's rifle buy. Plenty of time on the clock as ECSTATIC have already taken B lane control, but the CTs look to fight back for it. Manx opens up onto one, but Ruby on just a P2000, enough to steal it straight on over. Cabby, lovely 180 flick onto the head upon check, though, means it is now a 4v2 ensuing. Cabby needs to be protected at all costs, though. That AK cannot afford to be given on over. And with so much util left on the back of the man's hands, with that kill onto Matty, it does look like this round will be secured. Sydney attempts the headshot, but Birdser is ahead of it. Very nice 4 kills for him so far. ECSTATIC find their third round. Now, with those opening 3 gifted on over, this is where the gun rounds come on in. Matty's on an AWP, but so is Birdser. Kraken has a Galil as the only slight disadvantageous weapon left on the server. Yeah, UNGENTIUM, they've got the full bite, lacking a little in util. Matty doesn't have head armor either, not that that'll make too much difference unless he's unlucky enough to run into Kragan early doors, but instead it's a Molotov towards the ramp on the side of the T's to ensure nobody's up close and personal. Sydney, though, he's fairly close, but he's currently smoked on off, and with that flashbang, falls back into a safer position. Kragan spots 2 players in towards middle there through the gap in the smoke, and makes pushes up with Cabby, but Groupie's in with a massive double. Already an improvement on his start to the second map, but Queenix has a huge trade on back, a headshot apiece, and Kragan finally capitalizes on his mid-presence, leaving a 3v2 in tow. But that's a lovely shot onto Matty. Down he goes. Alt removed them. Prism 1v3. He's just going to have to sit comfortably here in Donut, as ECSTATIC forced the affair around him. Lovely stuff from this T side. Now, with this being UNGENTIUM's indisputable best map, you would hope they stand a significant chance at taking this and the series subsequently 2-1. They've beaten K23 on this map in recent times, and admittedly, they did lose 16-2 to Honoris. A bit of a slip-up for them there. But they still have a 43% T-round win percentage, and on the CT side, it's 54%. The overall distribution of their rounds won is a 52% win rate on T side. Interesting to see for UNGENTIUM here. But again, they should still be putting up at least 9 on this CT side. Otherwise, things could well go awry to this ECSTATIC squad. One going off. No rounds yet for UNGENTIUM. They do at least save an A1S. That will be a small lifeline coming into the 5th round here. But ECSTATIC, that 4 in a row, including the first gun round, will be a big confidence booster over to them. And Kraken, with his survival, can upgrade to that A1S from the original Galil he was wielding, giving them an even stronger chance to deal a death blow to UNGENTIUM here. It's a half-buy round from the Polish squad, as Prism, the only player able to keep a gun over from the previous, does have a decent buy surrounding him. Same can't quite be said for the rest of the squad. Molotov to deny early B presence, or at least be lane presence, but Gabby doesn't give a damn about your Molotov. It's a messy spray. He's full blinded in the process, but will catch down Prism, who's blinded by Sydney. A tragic team flash with only a single trade frag, but Matty on the Deagle will catch a 1D. Fels, Manx, Kraken trades. Sydney and Groovy now to try and bring this back into contention. Have to find Kraken sooner rather than later as he sits around the CT, or sits around the temple position. Kraken spots Sydney, and Groovy does back one onto Queenix, but with his low HP, he already begins to back away. Hoping he can catch Kraken off guard. He does. Leaving just Berta in the 1v1. Berta's on the AWP here. Oh, but Berta, what a shot onto Groovy. That is very, very well, it's a gorgeous shot, right when needed. I messed up my adjectives there, I will admit. That was a lovely shot from Berta. Lightning quick reaction. 6 kills to Vitali for the young gun. As my voice is doing its best to run away with itself this series. As ECSTATIC are already doing on their T side. 5 rounds on a T side is the bare minimum for Ancient achieved already. And if they can keep this up, then it spells trouble for UNGENTIUM. But Ponchek, he's not done fighting. An aid frag followed by the A1S spray will net us another 3v3. Look at the space that Kraken is taking. Sees Prism, and gorgeous taps will result in Prism's demise with this. Matty does adjust his own positioning, edges his way in through CT spawn, and looks to potentially catch Kraken off guard, but he's got the perfect positioning. And Ponchek could well be caught up in another sandwich of T-side players. Will Matty clear his corners? Yes, he does. Easy no-scope, Kraken falls. CT resecured now for UNGENTIUM, but that does mean the B-bomb site's been given up in the process. Ponchek, though. Oh, head removed by Queenix. Lovely stuff there from the Dane as Matty does follow up with a Molotov, and it lands a couple of centimeters too short to tick anything onto Queenix. Matty, slow and steady. Edges on into this B site. It's a vital round that they need to win, but the shot rattles off into the sunset as Queenix capitalizes. 6 on the board now to ECSTATIC, and that's already an incredibly successful T-side on Ancient. ECSTATIC have had a pretty rough run of it on Ancient recently. Their only win against a team called Sashi, which was a 16-6, but overall, yeah, it's been a rough play for them. 41% CT round win percentage, 39 on T. But they've already blown that statistic out of the water. Their more prominent side is the CT side in terms of distribution. But if ECSTATIC can put up 8 on the T side here, again, they'll blow that stat out the water. Very up close and personal in this smoke, but Cabby, what a lovely readjustment. Catches the tracers and rips off the head of young Prism as Cabby. Oh, we stuck all the way onto the back of the B site already. Ponchek falls, and this is a save call for UNGENTIUM. Nothing more they can do. Matty peeks on him with a scout, but nobody will be extending far enough in for that scout to capitalize. Huge resurgence here from ECSTATIC, and as I say that, I apparently jinxed Cabby. Poor fella has his head cleanly removed by the scouts of Matty, but the fragging department looking pretty miserable thus far for UNGENTIUM. Groovy, the only one really putting up a fight right now, is ECSTATIC. Everybody's come to the table. Bertz has yet to die. 6-0 right now for the young gun. As that timer now ticks away, UNGENTIUM have again been denied the round. They do manage to steal away that AK in the form of Sydney. But ECSTATIC, they've stolen away a 7th on T side. And as much as that's a nice shot from Matty, this does appear to be a bridge too far. Tactical balls coming in from UNGENTIUM, and they should have called one so much sooner. The buy will be coming on in, and Matty swaps a scout for an AWP, appropriately so, as Groovy, the support player, pulls another Sanji sitting on that MP9. Deciding here whether he wants to drop it or stick with them as GVS SMG, and sticking with it is indeed the answer he goes for here. Now again, I did call Ponchek's ancient experience into question. And with the T-side being this rough so far, I reckon this is a map that they've not fully gone over yet. They left it in the pool because it's their best map otherwise, but without Bayali, without their coach of Lutz standing in for them. This is a very, very drastic start. As Ponchek, I don't know quite what's just happened there, but he gets a freebie onto Manx as he dies in a Molotov that he very easily could have escaped from. Sydney now banks a second, and for the first time in a very long time, UNGENTIUM have not just an advantage, but a two-man one. And ECSTATIC, they look a little confused here. Not quite sure how to adapt to this extreme deficit of manpower. And Queenix now tries to force the affair back into even stature, but it will not be afforded. As Kragan peeks above the door smoke, nothing yet to see. And ECSTATIC, they do take B lane control, but if they hedge their bets towards B, that will be a three-man stack they walk into. Kragan pushes up the B lane. Flies up ramp and decapitates the first. Looking for a second, but Sydney peeks out. With 34 seconds left to go, a two-man deficit. This is played to perfection by UNGENTIUM. Ponchek, great headshot onto Queenix, leaving just Bertza to run away and save that AWP. Very, very costly reinvestment, and it's not the fact that they won't be able to afford it. It's the fact that their economy's in such a good place right now. There's no need to make it any worse than it is. Time now ticking away. And the chance for UNGENTIUM to prove themselves with their new roster, or at least their new signing, slowly slips away. Even with that first round on the board. They'd have to win the remaining 7 on CT side for me to have any confidence in how this map will go in their favour. But if you want to be the favourite on the server, in terms of your skin prowess, then why not head on over to our partners at BidSkins? You can bag yourself a nifty deal on skins for much cheaper than market price, or Steam market price at the very least, and you can make a purchase using cash or crypto. Currently a 5% deposit bonus on Ethereum. Get that while stocks last. You can also take advantage of their new player-to-player trading system. If you've got any knickknacks knocking about in the bottom of your inventory that you want to trade up into something a little more fancy, why not take advantage of that new feature today, as UNGENTIUM look to take advantage of the fact they have rifles coming into this round, but already they've used all of their util, and ECSTATIC just need to throw a few pieces of their own to capitalise. An embarrassing lack of utility discipline here from the side of UNGENTIUM, especially on a map that requires it so heavily as Ancient. And oh, it's a Matty now that's missing the AWP shots. Reminiscent of Bertza back on Vertigo. Bertza had a miserable performance in map 1 and was honestly one of the reasons that we're here in a 1-1 scoreline in the first place. But Bertza has far left that behind him as he hits 7-0 on the T side of Ancient. Early doors. Bomb now planted towards B, and UNGENTIUM again forced into a save as they have a 3-man stack towards the wrong bomb site. Queenix could go for a push here, try and steal away another rifle. That would be astronomical in terms of economic damage to the side of UNGENTIUM. And Kragan is the one to capitalise onto Groovy, the only man who had a somewhat decent start to this map. Ponchek has since awoken a little, but the rest of the squad of UNGENTIUM, it's a bit of an embarrassingly slow start. And Queenix, oh, he's on the hunt as Matty falls on down. They kill every single one of them. Nobody spared on this ECSTATIC hunt as they're the first to 8 rounds. They win out the half on their T side of Ancient and UNGENTIUM. There is nothing left in the tank. No energy, no confidence. They knew they needed to win this game in a 2-0 fashion. They needed to win that dust too. but they let it slip through their fingers. They let it slip 16-13. As Groovy burns in the hellfires of that Molotov early doors. Dominant showing here from ECSTATIC, and it appears that one map they won, putting an end to a hideous streak, has spurred them back into motion. Sydney, though, land to think early doors onto Cabby, and finally some semblance of an advantage is stirring for UNGENTIUM. Ponchek catches Cabby finally. Groovy in middle, another to Vitaly, but Bertza and Queenix, they don't go down without a fight. 3v3 again ensues as Bertza looks to join up with his teammate in Manx, who's already gained a decent bit of B-ramp presence. Ponchek, the only B defender right now. Matty would have to rotate on over on the call-out. Ponchek now pushes back into the site itself. Molly rains on down. Another Molly pushes him out of position, forces him forwards, and instead of the frag, into the open arms of Manx as Bertza lands another cracker. 9-0 right now as ECSTATIC put up an electric performance here on Ancient. Prism, all he could do is save that A1S on over into the next as the B site fails ECSTATIC time and time again. Or fails UNGENTIUM, sorry, as their defense has just not been up to par. Unbelievable change in performance for Bertza here. An infinite KD as a technicality here. As he is still yet to die and still finds huge levels of impact. 2 kills alone in that round. As this massive resurgence in performance for ECSTATIC is truly a sight to behold. 9-1, 9 times as many rounds as UNGENTIUM, as they again struggle to pull a bye together. Groovy on an A1S along with Prism saved over one, but Ponchek, Matty, Sydney, it's just the upgraded pistols for them to be bringing on over here. And as the Mollies rain on down into middle. ECSTATIC don't give a damn. They continue to take such... Oh, umpteenth presence. They're going to shift walk straight on past Matty. The timing is atrocious. So unlucky for UNGENTIUM there. As now ECSTATIC have full control of CT. This is a big upset for UNGENTIUM. Oh, look at it. Sydney none the wiser as Matty's calling that he's not seen anybody yet. He doesn't know why it's so quiet, but the reason it's so quiet is this Kraken thinking about a knife kill there, perhaps, but shuts down Sydney. Cabby fails Ponchek in the meantime. Matty doesn't stand a chance against Manx, and it's the 2 A1Ss on the wrong bomb site to start with, forced again into a brutal save. Cabby, he's on the hunt. He's got tons of cash in his back pocket, as does everybody on this ECSTATIC lineup. I love that AK. The Vulcan with 4 Vega Squadron hollows. Vega Squadron, a team that I've loosely followed since 2018. Obviously, they don't exist anymore. A couple of their members now playing for Team Spirit. And, oh, that's the spirit there from Cabby. Groovy doesn't stand a chance, and I don't think Prism does either. Gets the first. Queenix can trade this out, but it's not up to Queenix. Instead, down to Cabby as the timer ticks on low. The Prism instead opts to hide in the smoke. Queenix, doesn't decide to spam the right place. And that's close. But Prism, an intelligent save call there. Ten times as many rounds as their opposition, and this is a said and done map. There's no way that UNGENTIUM can come back into this one. I just don't see the possibility. Especially on a T side of all ungodly sides. On the most CT-sided map in the game, ECSTATIC have 10 rounds, and Kragan has the tenacity to run through that Molotov. Look at the confidence brimming on this ECSTATIC side now. They got 16-0 by G2, and they look to take out their aggression, take out their rage on this UNGENTIUM side. Kraken forces his way through the smoke in towards the cave position, and a Molotov rains on down to trap Prism in the corner. Fully blinded, he tries to spin on back out, but he's trapped, encapsulated in this cave angle as his teammates come to join him. And finally, Queenix removed. Bertzer is yet to die. 10 kills to his tally. And he looks to continue finding impact, but Matty finally closes in the gates on him. Manx now just has to defend with Cabby as that timer ticks on away. Cabby's in a rough spot for the HP he's in, but the bomb is planted just about for his teammate. Having said that, smoke now deployed, but Cabby, it's a gorgeous headshot. Another smoke rained on down. Cabby, a two-man spree now comes on in, allows Max to capitalise, and Matty just has to run away. And it's another round on the board to ECSTATIC. 11-1 now as they deal blow after blow. The Danes have found their footing, found their form, but UNGENTIUM, they are being slapped about. Mullet to pieces. There's nothing they can do to reply to ECSTATIC. Unprecedented aggression, great spacing, great trades, clutch abilities. And everybody here is performing. Whew. I don't know if my voice will survive for the next series of the day. More fun action up next. It's Havu versus Into the Breach. Two squads with a bit of history themselves. So deal with that rundown a little later on, as ECSTATIC still need to finish this map first. And again, being a little cruel. UNGENTIUM still obviously have a chance in this map. It's just a very damn small one at this stage of the game. ECSTATIC not only have double digits, but 11 damn rounds on the T side of Ancient. And I think UNGENTIUM may have already given up here. Kraken does take a nice bit of damage, down to 49 early doors. But look at this. The onslaught on towards the A site begins, and there's no stopping ECSTATIC now. I say that, Sydney has now rotated in. There is a chance for him to deal some damage. And Sydney will find the updraw to Cabby, but Manx is ruthless with Matty in tow. A trade comes in, but Queenix burrs and Queenix again. Look at this, kill after kill after kill. ECSTATIC brutalize UNGENTIUM to the point of no return. Prism, he sits 4 and 8. 2 of those have been exit frags. There's nothing else he can do. Oh, the timing is poor. It's cruel. But he does at least deal the blow to Manx. And, well, they could go for this 1v2. It's a round they need to win. And he spurred on into Donut, but the crossfire is just brutal. Berza. Now CT on lockdown as Queenix is left with the responsibility of safeguarding the bomb site. Prism is gonna clear. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no! Oh my goodness, this round could have gone awry, but Prism, he's got the defuse kit. He's sticking it. Berza needs to pick up the pace. It's all about the timing. He's done it. Prism has finally won a round. A 1v3 clutch for Prism. A hell of a mess there, caused by Queenix. 4 bullets would have been enough, but Queenix whiffed the entire magazine. And finally, it's 2 on the board for UNGENTIUM. A 5 HP Prism somehow sticks a ninja defuse. In fact, it's not even a ninja, it's just brazen. There's no util to aid in that defuse. And man, oh man, look where we find ourselves. Matty, again, has 2 Ts walk straight on past him. This time, at least, there's Sydney to receive, but Groovy receives a 50 cal to the chest. A huge cavity in both his lifeless corpse, and the defense of UNGENTIUM as Kraken bagged another frag. Oh, ECSTATIC. Looking for their 12th, but Matty looks to at least cling on to what little CT rounds they've got left. Prism. Freebie onto Cabby. Or Kraken, sorry, but Cabby and Bertz are a frag apiece. Matty, it's a 1v3 to win out the penultimate off the half, and that's a lovely start. Queening forward, Bertz around the corner. Also felled by Matty with a bomb carrier in Cabby. He makes a dash for the B side, drops a smoke behind him, and it will be a 1v1 again for Matty to try and rattle on down. 3 kills to his tally already. Another clutch required for another round for UNGENTIUM, and he will be going for it. Of course he's going for it. If they don't win this round, they already have nothing to win the last round with. Cabby, 15-8 right now. A dazzling performance over on this T side. And Cabby just sits patiently, sits steadfast in towards the cage. That gorgeous Falcon shines on through, and 12-2 for ECSTATIC. Good lord. 6 times the rounds of their opposition, 10 more in total. As UNGENTIUM have been embarrassed. Oh, Cabby flexing his gorgeous Glock. As UNGENTIUM, well, they've got nothing left to flex here. th round of play. And ECSTATIC are only 4 away from winning this map. Sydney, finally, an opening frag for the UNGENTIUM side. Kraken dies. But they've left a huge gap on B. Oh, it's a lovely kill from Prism, hiding in towards the ninja spot, but Cabby fully blinded, goes down as well. Queenix pulls her back, 2v3 ensues. And no bomb plant to speak of just yet, but still with a 7 KD. Has to try and defend his teammate here, but Sydney seals the deal, and it's 3 on the board for UNGENTIUM. Ruby sticks the defuse and finally brings this miserable half to an end. ECSTATIC, that is unbelievable. 7-round streak followed by a 4-round streak. A cherry on top for 12. Imagine what would have happened if ECSTATIC had not won that pistol round. An interesting Molotov kill to hark on back to their production. Probably the most embarrassing death that ECSTATIC suffered in that entire half. But here we now have UNGENTIUM on their T side of Ancient with just 3 rounds to play with. They could well win the pistol, they could well win the conversion and the follow-through after that. But ECSTATIC have 9 buffer rounds and need only 4 to win out this map. And win out this series as Berta starts it strong. Sydney dies, but Prism trades. The 4v4 here. As Prism spins it into UNGENTIUM's favour. Bomb plant comes on in. As the CTs dash it in through cave. All of this is heard by Ponchek. He gives out the call as Matty gives out a couple of Glock bullets. But it's Kraken to find the opener. Ponchek again a trade. Berta finds one more. Queenix another 1v2 now for Groovy. The bomb is tapped. And Berta has a kit. The taps come on in. Groovy gives up his position. He just needs to find 2 more headshots. But it's Berta to seal the deal. The young Orper, nifty with a pistol as well, as he's so proven. Puts 13 on the board for ECSTATIC. 10-round lead. And my, oh my. UNGENTIUM, they can't catch a break. What in the high heavens is going on here? ECSTATIC, the 2nd highest globally ranked team in the Northern EU Series 1. Up against the lowest ranked team in Northern EU Series 1. And it's taken all 3 maps to seal the deal, including a loss on their own pick of Vertigo. But now they dominate, desecrate on this final map of Ancient. It's a full force buy for UNGENTIUM here. Lack of utility, subsidy by an incredibly strong rifle buy. 3 Galils, 2 AKs, against 3 A1Ss, a FAMAS, and an MP9. But the difference is that the CTs do have defensive util. And UNGENTIUM, in the meantime, they've gone for a default. Smoke rains down, and that will at least temporarily cut off a top mid control. As Donut is also smoked on off, and ECSTATIC could be spurred into thinking it is mid presence about to be taken. But ECSTATIC, instead of thinking it is the mid plate, decide to go on a hunt through the A main position. They realise now that A is not on the cards, and the rotation to B needs to come in thick and fast. Ponchek first to find a frag despite taking a heap of damage. Prism finds another. First to here to try and seal the deal, but Matty finds a headshot. And with that, the bomb will go down, and ECSTATIC have lost themselves the round. Fourth on the board for UNGENTIUM as they steal away the conversion and deny ECSTATIC a 14th. Nice kill from Kragan, though. As UNGENTIUM desperately need to hold on to these rifles, but they'll never expect Queenix here. Well, thankfully for Groovy, he doesn't need to expect Queenix as he falls back towards the rest of his teammates. And with that, UNGENTIUM definitely secure their fourth. A rough economy now for ECSTATIC means that UNGENTIUM will be gifted most likely a fifth as well. But we can never underestimate the pistols, especially 5.7s, if that's what ECSTATIC choose to bring to the table. Now, as that timer ticks on down, the game is not over yet. A full buy for UNGENTIUM, as I said, should afford them a fifth round. And with this force buy from ECSTATIC, a sixth as well. Brings them within 7 of ECSTATIC's total. Queenix does have that hero A1S, though, and will open up for the first frag of the round. Goes for another peek. Lines Prism off the angle, and Ponchek takes damage as well from Kragan's Deagle. It's a 5v4, but still heavy advantage is retained for UNGENTIUM here. Almost finding the bomb, actually. Instead, they run into Sydney, who will pick up a double and saves this round from going awry. 4v3. Util expended, and bomb should now be retrieved by Sydney. He bides his time a little, though, as ECSTATIC corner themselves onto this B site. And perhaps UNGENTIUM want to make their way over to this B, which could potentially be deadly. Still an A1S on Queenix in play, and Groovy. Oh, that's a gorgeous decapitation from Kragan. It's a 3v3 now, and Prism, he's been caught off guard, switches to an AK, moves out of dodge. Prism finally catches Kragan as Birdser gets a man facing away from him. Oh no, they caught Ponchek in the crossfire! A hero A1S round could be all that ECSTATIC needed. And Prism's gone to save. Oh no, UNGENTIUM. You can't let a round like this slip away. ECSTATIC, they find 14. That's 10 rounds lead for them now. Nothing UNGENTIUM can do. There's no plant. There's no real economy. The CTs are having their merry way with this D-side. The pole's no longer in pole position, bullied out of the prospect of a 2-1. Round number 19. 2 rounds away from ECSTATIC seizing victory. UNGENTIUM, they force all they can into this one. After looking so good on Vertigo, and with such a strong start on Dust 2. It's all come down to this. Spurs is 19-4 right now, and Kragan's just saved his life with a kill. Cabby bags one more, and it's all falling apart again for UNGENTIUM. But back of a bomb site, we'll have a couple of players to contest with, most likely in a moment's time. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if UNGENTIUM went for a safe call at this late stage of the game, but there's no point. Just get it over and done with. There's no coming back from this. They tell you never to give up in Counter-Strike, and that much is true. But when the scoreline is this much of a deficit on this much of a CT-sided map, and after losing yet another rifler, it's over. It's game over here. There's no money in the bank for UNGENTIUM. Matty dies, and it's a flawless round for ECSTATIC to bag 15th, to add insult to injury, to seal off this 19th. And as we head into round number 20, we could be looking at a 64. In fact, almost certainly we will be looking at a 16-4 scoreline for ECSTATIC here. The first time in a long time they've won over an Ancient, and it couldn't have come soon enough. Making a lower bracket run in this Swiss system. They fight for their tournament lives and fight to stave off the embarrassment of 8 series lost in a row. They've already finally put up their first map in 8 series, and now they just need to convert, and Queenix converts onto Groovy early doors. It's a great start. And ECSTATIC, oh, they must feel electric to finally win a game after so many back-to-back issues. After Manx's IGLing was called into question. After the loss of the Maniac of Bird from Sky. He's IGLing so good, he was afforded a nickname Radar from Sky, but Prism does clutch a kill on back. It is still a 4v4, and there is still a glimmer of hope for UNGENTIUM in this round. Slowly stripped away at by Kraken. 4v3. 1 flashbang, 3 upgraded pistols, and Kraken has been removed by Matties. Still the potential for an upset in round 20. I consider it unlikely, but it's not outside the realms of possibility. If ECSTATIC can do it to UNGENTIUM, why can't they do it straight on back? Manx peeking into this B site. Unlike peeking into this A site, sorry. We'll be looking to support Queenix, who's already got full A main control, but with full A main control garnered, surely the game is up that the B side is under pressure here. Somebody needs to go and check CT sooner rather than later, otherwise Bertz is going to get completely sandwiched. This is still a very possible round for the side of UNGENTIUM. Ponchek decides to check towards A early doors, though, giving Bertzer a time to adjust. Ponchek can't quite see him, but finally seals him into his grave. Manx almost catches Matty during the bomb plant process. But for the time being, it's Queenix to open up with a kill. Queenix back to double, all up to Ponchek in the 1v2. It needs to be the clutch to seal the deal, and Queenix already taps the defuse. Ponchek none the wiser of it. This is a fake. Pushes out regardless, and Manx seals the deal. It's a 16-4 finish, ladies and gentlemen, to the side of ECSTATIC, and well, what a way to seal the deal. And with that, ECSTATIC win their first series in 8 attempts. That is not a 16-14, that is a 16-4 an Ancient to seal the deal. Dominant all the way through. A brilliant T-side, one of the best I've seen on Ancient in a very long time, as UNGENTIUM are completely outmaneuvered time and time again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that puts that series to bed. Finally, ECSTATIC win a single map, win a single series in this Swiss system. They continue to fight for their tournament lives. And up next, we've got Into the Breach versus Havu. But before that, I'm going to go for a quick break, try and recover my voice, as all of you should try and recover from the excitement of that third map. Now, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I'll see you all shortly. Hope you enjoy what's coming up next.
Stuck ranking up? Lost the motivation to grind? Bored of clicking heads on aim maps? Get some colour into your game. Bitskins.com. Buying and selling skins made easy. Tons of payment methods and instant cash outs. Just choose your dream skins, select your preferred payment method, and start grinding again. If you want to play like the pros, you gotta look like the pros.
Win up to $1 million with your CSGO esports predictions. Simply guess the kill scores of the 10 players in a CSGO match. The more you guess correctly, the bigger the prize. You'll need at least 2 correct predictions to win a prize. Guess all 10 correct and win $1 million. Experience the exciting new way to add a little prosperity when watching esports tournaments. And register now to receive a free entry ticket upon sign-up. Predict kills, win millions, prosper.
The hunger for glory feeds the desire, the courage to look for a challenge, to feed your ambitions. To reach for greatness. To become the champion of champions.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the CCT North Europe Series 1. We've seen our first elimination of the day in the previous matchup as UNGENTIUM unfortunately go home with their heads in their hands. They're knocked out 0-3 in this Swiss. Is Harvu versus Into the Breach. Now, these two squads, they've got a little bit of history with each other. Harvu is a Finnish up-and-coming team. I say up-and-coming team. I mean, they've been around for a considerable length of time, but they've got a new core 3. They're now rocking with 3 former ENTS players in X7, Aerial, and Doto, and they've also brought in Spargo and Zane, both very prominent names in the Finnish scene. Spargo is the new AWPer for this squad, and Zane is a very highly rated rifler and lurker, and he's got a 1.15 impact rating right now, which is very, very impressive for the rifler. On the flip side, X7 and Aerial both putting up very, very high ratings, as Harvu, I mean, they've gone on a bit of a tear recently. I think they've had a slight dip in performance over the last week, but that's not really saying much. I mean, a week in Counter-Strike is a year in normal time, but yeah, they just missed out on the Nordic Masters 4 Blast Premier qualifier after qualifying first place. And I think it's safe to say they are indisputably the best team in Finland right now. Alu's roster is just really not making the cut, which is funny, as X7 and Aerial have defeated him on multiple occasions at this point. But the reason I say that these two teams have history is because Into the Breach, back when they were a brand new roster, at the same time 2 months ago, met Harvu at a Finnish LAN. And they fought all the way through the lower bracket, and the side of Dobbo, Adam, Cypher... Wait, Smooya? Hold on a minute. This isn't right. That's Draken and Rusty. Dobbo, Adam, Cypher, Draken, Rusty, and Juve as the coach. Hey, hold on a minute. Is Smooya and Thomas playing today? I've not been informed of this. I mean, according to HLTV, wow. No, it is Smooya and Thomas. I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning is for this, but again, yeah, nobody told me about that change. So this was not the lineup that beat Harvu back in Finland at the LAN. They actually won that Finnish LAN, which is what spiraled into the breach into what was a very impressive performance. They managed to beat Alu's team in the grand finals, and they beat Harvu in 2 maps, but both of those maps went to overtimes. They won 25-22, I believe was the scoreline, or something along those lines, or 28-25 or something in the first map. And yeah, the second map was slightly less of a slog, but still a 19-16 finish. But yeah, if this is truly the roster that ITB are bringing to the table today, I mean, Thomas has just been signed to another squad, and Smooya is still a free agent. But if this is Smooya and Thomas playing, they are indeed standing in for Draken and Rusty. Apologies again for sounding so surprised, but again, I am quite surprised. And I mean, production is informing me that okay, there's a problem on ITB's side. So, yeah, it will be Thomas and Smooya. Wow, okay. Always the reliable stand-ins, it seems. And the reason Into the Breach are allowed to rely on them so often is because they do get on quite well with the rest of this squad. I mean, Into the Breach has not been a full UK squad in quite some time, so it really is the UK pride out today. And, well, looking at the flip side of Harvu then, I guess I may as well introduce their lineup. I'd say their chances of winning have drastically increased with this introduction of Smooya and Thomas. I'd say Draken right now fits into the breach system a little bit better with his orbing. But yeah, of course, that is not a picture of Smooya. Just to reconvene, that is of course Rusty. But yeah, production. If you'd like to introduce Harvu with me, we've got the side of X7, Ariel, Spargo, Doto, Zane, and the coach of Zate. So obviously, X7 and Ariel, major finalists, did have a bit of a rough stint after the kicking of Alexi B, and after various mismashing in the finish sheet, they ended up on this Harvu lineup. So X7 has been a member of Harvu for 2 years and 2 months now. Ariel joined shortly after him and has been on the roster for a year and 9 months. And then more recently, Doto, Spargo, and Zane, they have been on the roster for 2 months each. Zate also joined, I believe, quite recently as the coach. And as I said, they've seen decent levels of success, and they are slowly progressing, slowly getting better with each tournament that they're playing. In fact, if you look at the RMR qualifiers, in Open Qualifier number 2, they were able to hit 5th to 8th place, missing out by a single game the opportunity to be playing in the RMRs. Very, very sad stuff for them. But they bounced back quickly, as much as they did struggle a little bit in the Open Qualifiers to DreamHack Rotterdam. They were able to win, as I said, the Pelagiat Series Fall, which was the qualifier for the Blast Premier qualifier. Yeah, Blast has a lot of qualifiers, but yeah, they unfortunately fell short in the Nordic Masters. They came 3rd to 4th. But still, it shows signs of gradual improvements. And, well, looking here at their map consistency, they have definitely been able to achieve a lot better than the previous edition of Harvu. But now, I believe we have a head-to-head for these two teams up next. I'm curious to see who we'll be bringing to the table. No, instead we're just heading over to the map vetoes. No bother. Harvu, Insta-ban of Vertigo, nothing unexpected there. Into the Breach will be banning Nuke, which is a little more unexpected. He played it, well, 16 times in the last 3 months with a 69% win rate. It's a very, very good map for them. But of course, with the introduction of Smooya and Thomas into the fray today, it's a map that they're perhaps a little less confident on, hence the change of heart. But Inferno will be the pick of Harvu, and that's a map they played 6 times in the past 3 months with a 67% win rate. On the flip side, ITB will be picking into Overpass. Now, Overpass, they played 15 times in the past 3 months with a gorgeous 73% win rate. On the flip side now, Harvu bans Mirage, Ancient banned by ITB, and the decider will be Dust 2. Now, Dust 2, not a fantastic map for either of these two teams, but especially for ITB. Yeah, they played it 3 times and they are yet to win it. On the flip side, Dust 2 has been played 6 times by Harvu with a 33% win rate. Now, as we head into the opening map of Inferno, well, it's ITB looking to surprise us here with their 2 stand-ins. We are, of course, right now in the 1-1 bracket. This is not an elimination game. But regardless of such, both of these teams are keen to be the first to head up onto that 2-1 stage. And, well, both of these teams, I'd still say with the stand-ins, have a fairly decent chance. 3-man stack towards the B-bomb site here for ITB, and Adam is challenged first. Forced off the top of boxes as Thomas is tanked on down, but it's Adam with a huge double. Oh my goodness, Adam, it's a 3K. Dobbo chimes on in as well. Thomas finds the final frag, and ITB, they have a flawless pistol round over towards that B-bomb site. What a stellar start there for Adam. Really, really impressive stuff as he pistoliers his way through to a prominent start. And now, as Havu deagle themselves up, they will be looking to steal away this conversion round from ITB, but I just don't think that will be a possibility. Nades rain now on Banana. Doto patiently waits for them to fall. We'll be able to slip behind that smoke, but it's not going to matter too much. Currently a default for Havu, just looking to see if they can find an opening frag, and they'll look to capitalize off the back of that. Banana control is gifted to them. But ITB know that they'll have a pretty weak buy. Thomas and Smuya. 2 big names in the UK scene here. 2 of the best and brightest. We'll have some support from Cypher here as Cypher cuts down Zane. 5v4 now ensuing for ITB, and this should be a quick cleanup of a round as time keeps on ticking. Utilt keeps on disparaging, and Havu, well, their deagles just aren't landing the necessary shots. Smuya, very overzealous here, goes on a hunt, sees the bomb carrier, great trigger discipline though, sees the heads of 2. And we'll just remove Spargo. Great kill to Aerial as well as he makes a little too much noise. Doto a great 180. Head of Smuya removed. Cypher catches another onto X7. And Doto does do further damage, but Dobbo is the man to seal the deal as ITB go 2-0. Now, as that timer ticks on down, we will have another pistol round here for Havu. A couple of upgrades in tow, but because of the fact they force bought in the second after not finding a bomb plant, ITB have been gifted a lot of presents here, a lot of rounds as Smuya and Thomas. Well, they get the opening 2 kills, but Doto and Zane, they trade on back with a P250 and a Desert Eagle. Now, ITB, the health on Dobbo and Thomas is not fantastic. They need to be seriously careful here. If Doto gets away with a cheeky frag on his Desert Eagle, things could collapse fairly swiftly if they're not paying attention. Cypher gets unnecessarily aggressive again, cut down by Doto, leaving just Dobbo and Thomas in the 2v2. This is huge for the Pistols. If they win this round, that would be a huge upset. Thomas bides his time safely, though. Doto waits for further aggression down Banana, something he will not be gifted thus far. Zane. Just 3 hits on the body of Thomas, or 1 to the head, enough to remove him from play. And the fact that ITB have decided to split their defenses means there's an even greater possibility of things going south very quickly. Thomas will at least not have to deal with Utilt. Spots ahead towards the apartments, and Doto is none the wiser. Zane, now knowing the position of Thomas, will not be enough to capitalize. That was almost the round there for Havu, but ITB somehow recover things and bag themselves a 3rd. They've got to make sure the next round is not as dicey as that former. Their economy, not in a great spot if they lose this one. Gobbo does have the money to invest because of that FAMAS saved on over. He has a lot of util in his back pocket too. But I'm assuming that ITB won't be so brazen against what they know will be a rifle buy as they were against just the pistols, as Doto, brazen, speaking of it, pushes straight through the long smoke. Cypher doesn't quite have to deal with him just yet. Now as Havu stack up towards the middle, a lot of presence has been shown, and into the breach they rotate every single one of their players over for a gamble stack towards A. It's a risky play. It might pay off as Havu continue to hammer their way towards this bomb site. Thomas opens up onto the first, fully blinded, but he doesn't need vision to find a frag. Adam spins on in as well, and Spargo only good for the single trade leaves Aerial and X7, the original Ents duo, try and pull around out of nothing. Cypher catches Aerial completely off guard, leaving just X7 in a 1v4. Spins on out and has his jaw spun in return. 4-0 now to ITB. And that is a very solid performance in the opening gun round. Havu back to the pistols. Maybe an SMG or two in play, but this has not been the start that they were looking for. Round number 5 underway, and it's 5 Tech 9s with a decent spattering of util for Havu. And Smuya recognises that this aggression is a possibility. Falls back towards A long, finds the opening frag onto Aerial. Narrowly misses the shot onto the second player, who's managed to sneak his way all the way into CT, and Doto bags a headshot onto Dobbo. The double Ds are dastardly as they go at it, and X7 is now looking for that follow-up frag onto Adam, but Adam somehow still alive, finally removed from play. Very impressive stuff from Havu here, and if Zeng can get a freebie onto Cypher, he will, and Smooyar as well falls down to the Tech 9, leaving just Thomas and Zane. Oh my goodness me! What a 3K, what a lurk! And that is why he's a 1.15 rated lurker, ladies and gents. He can pull off that like it's a nothing. Gorgeous first round on the board for Havu, a complete upset, a complete spanner in the works to YTB's defense. And well, with that, things start to spice up a little in the start of the first half. Smuya just gives up, doesn't even want to turn around and acknowledge Zane's presence. And the trade, it just doesn't come on him. Still a buy round here for ITB, still a decent spattering of util. They even drop some more for the B-side players in towards the spawn. Utility denies presence up banana for Havu early doors, but Doto has snuck past that secondary Molotov. Adam. Oh, that's a good grenade. Doto doesn't stand a chance. Adam and Dobbo pepper him to pieces as X7 now look for the trade. Havu appear to be doing better on pistols than they do with their rifles, at least early doors in round number 6 here. Now as Havu slow the pace, ITB are kept guessing. 3-man stack towards the B side is definitely the right call. Aerial lurking over towards A this time. Thomas is boosted up, but Thomas can't quite catch the frag. He hears the footsteps, doesn't know exactly where Aerial has ended up. But the bomb has ended up on the opposite site, and B is now under contention. They need to rotate one in fast. As Adam and Dobbo, they've got a nice stack up towards quad, but that stack is going to be rudely interrupted by utility. In fact, no, I tell a lie. A smoke deployed by the CTs that allowed them to remain in possession. As Dobbo catches another frag, it's now a 4v2. Smuya in from CT. He's not going to be able to save Dobbo as he's no-scoped by Spargo. Gorgeous frag by the opposition AWPer. Still a 3v2 though, and still a nightmarishly tough round for Havu. Bomb drop behind that smoke over towards the banana angle. Finally retrieved by Aerial, but Smuyar's boosted up. He gives the information that they're planting towards oranges, and now everyone bursts through CT. Thomas bags the first, Spargo a trade, and now a 2v1. Smuya and Cypher look to capitalize. Spargo sits patiently on the back of sight. Gorgeously done by Smuya on the A1S there. A versatile rifler and AWPer. He shows himself up to be here as ITB find their 5th and Havu lose another gun round. Really nice stuff from the back of sight there from the ITB players. Great smoke as well to deny that Molotov, pushing them off the angle. Smooya to seal the deal. Very nicely done. Now, round number 7 ensues. Another full buy for Havu here. Nature of their bomb plant. Lots of util. Lots of opportunities to capitalize here. Funnily enough, it's the CTs with the lesser economy, with only 2 surviving on that previous round win. But as the nades wear on down, Adam only takes a tiny chip of damage. Keeps on fighting for now. Havu. Slip a man into Banana. That will be X7. And also the Ents duo, currently 0-5 and 0-6 as we head into round number 7. Aerial. Looking to be the first James Bonder of the day. Is now equalled by X7 as Smooya rips him from the server. Smooya hungry for further opportunities to prove himself in the Tier 1 scape. We'll just see this as a nice warm-up. Cypher fully blinded off the long angle and forced away as Thomas's position has been given up. But Thomas, fighting through fire and flame, decides to take down Toto. And it's a worthwhile decision again. The man advantage retained for the ITB squad as Havu stack 3 up in towards middle. Rotation will be required sooner rather than later, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Smooya left alone to defend B as Dopper rotates on in. Nobody yet in towards CT, but they don't have the information of this on the ITB side just yet. Instead, a prominent crossfire onto the site itself. As now the execute comes on in. Adam on top of the back boxes will be the first to spot Aerial as he tries to loop round the corner, but instead it stays the plant. The spam comes in and both of them are missing. And Cypher will find the first, but Spargo's quick on the trade. A 2v3 for this retake as Cypher's position still unaccounted for, but as he drops off the boxes, that information will be passed on over. Aerial in the pit. Has a great position here to defend the bomb from. As Cypher is now spotted, jumping across, jumping around, finally cut on down. As it's a late resurgence from Dobbo and Smooya. Molotov does not force Aerial out of position. And Dobbo is forced instead to take drastic action as he pushes on down. The bomb is tapped. And Spargo, it's a lovely frag onto the head of Dobbo. Aerial seals the deal and Havu finally find their second. Despite the advantages netted for ITB, Havu, they steal it away in the Finns. Well, they keep up the good fight. No economy left for ITB here. It'll either be an eco or force because it's a bit of a double eco territory here. But if they do go for that force fight, they rest that in Havu, find themselves 4 rounds as they can come ever closer to an equalizer. Now this is where I really want to see Spargo shine. Doesn't quite yet have his AWP investment. But he should do very soon in one of these preceding rounds. Adam tries his best to get something done towards the top of Banana. Uses a nade to cover his